Hey everyone, welcome back to another Beast of the Mesozoic Tyrannosaur series review. Today we're taking a look at the Juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is the final figure I'll be reviewing from Wave 1 or Wave 1.5, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, really excited about this one. Juvenile Tyrannosaurus had really wonky proportions compared to the adults, so it's really cool that David gave us a juvenile to pair up with the big 1/18 scale parents. Now this figure is currently in stock on Creative Beast's website. So if you pre-order these figures, they should be shipping to you right now. This figure retails for $60, and I'll leave a link down below to Creative Beast Studios if you want to order one of these for yourself. So let's go over the package really quick before we crack this juvenile open. Like I've been saying earlier, love how the artwork is just incorporated into the package now. Don't miss the sleeves at all. It looks absolutely beautiful. Just love how the Juvenile Rex just comes off the side of the box right onto the package, and just love bright blue eyes on theropods. I think it's just very striking. And then on the back of the box, you get a nice picture of the actual figure itself. The other figures available in Wave 1, I picked everything up from Wave 1 except for the Die Long. Like I keep saying, really want a 1/18 scale of that figure. Got some facts about T-Rex. So that will do it for the packaging. Let's crack this juvenile open and take a closer look. And here is the Juvenile Rex of the packaging. And I have to say, I really like this body type on this figure. I think Tyrannosaurus is going to share this body type. It's a lot of fun to play around with. Very posable. I didn't think I was going to enjoy playing around with this figure as much as like the U-Tyrannosaur or the adult Rexes. But yeah, this figure is an absolute blast to play around with and pose. And it perfectly captures the awkwardness of a tween Tyrannosaurus Rex. They were very awkward looking animals with those long, spindly hind legs, long neck, and a much longer snout. There was so much confusion, about juvenile Rexes, back in the day. It was, thought to be that it was a different species, Nanotyrannus, but after much study, it's been concluded that these are, in fact, juvenile T-Rexes, much different than the big powerhouses the adults grew up to be. So it's really cool to have a figure like this to show you the growth changes that T-Rex experienced through its lifetime. Now, the color scheme is based off the adult standard T-Rex. It's takes inspiration from the airless monitor, and I like all the earth tones on there, the brown, the whites, the blacks. It all comes together and gives it a very natural look, and just love the piercing blue eyes on the Rex figures. I think blue eyes on theropods is visually striking. So all around, a really cool looking and great figure. And now for some measurements, this figure is 12 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, or about 30.5 centimeters, and about 4.5 inches tall to the top of the hips, or 11.4 centimeters. So the size estimate for this figure, I'm basing it off the Jane specimen, which is a juvenile T-Rex, is 21 feet long, or 6.4 meters. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 121 scale range. And just like all figures, you do get a nice collector card featuring that beautiful artwork on the front of the box. We've got the juvenile T-Rex running through some water, and on the back we do have some information about the Juvi Rex. And also, as you can see, with some careful posing, this figure can stand on two legs without the base. Now let's take a look at the accessories you get with this Juvenile Rex. You do get a nice display base that is really nicely done. You get some nice texturing on there. Some moss for the rocky area. You can actually see a footprint indentation right here. You have a couple peg holes to put the feet in, and you do have this clear support rod. There's two rods that come with it. You can do different configurations with it. I do really like this base. It's very versatile. I can get this figure in some pretty decent poses, but where the caution, this clasp right here, it's a very rigid plastic, and I actually cracked mine putting it on the Rex right here. So you want to get it around the thinnest part of the ankle right here, and it's just a little bit too wide, so you kind of have to like put it in on an angle and then push it in. But I end up cracking it, and I just wish these were made out of a little bit more slightly flexible material so you can avoid breakage. Thankfully, it wasn't a complete break. I was able to glue it, and I don't have to worry about it, but you do get some nice movement in here. It's a very tight joint. This part can pop off. You can pop in the other piece right here for other display options. I'm not going to show any poses right here, but I did take a bunch of pictures using this display base to show you all the different poses you can get in it, and I'm quite impressed with it. The only issue is I just wish the plastic was a little bit flexible, and by pulling on this, it's so tough. I know a lot of people are going to break their rods by pushing into this hole. It's a very, very snug fit. I highly recommend pushing from the base to get in there. You want to keep as much pressure off this or you will break this, but you can still interchange the pieces in there if you would like to get different pose and options. As well as the open toes that come installed on the figure, you do get 2 more pairs of feet. You do get these open toe feet, walking feet, and you do get these closed toe feet, and lots of nice detail on these. My camera does not like when I bring stuff this close. It just jumps to macro mode. You can see some nice detail on there. There are peg holes on the bottom of those, no peg holes on the walking feet. There's really no point for them because you're not going to get it in the stand. But yes, you get some nice display options with these feet. And now let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with this really, really adorable head. Very nicely sculpted figure. I just love the gangly, awkward, tween proportions on this figure. Just shows you what an awkward teenager juvenile T-Rexes were. Kind of reminds me in middle school, but you can see the eyes done in that piercing blue. Absolutely love the blue. The crests are starting to come in above the eyes. You can see some nice bone paint on there. Nostrils nicely sculpted in. And open up the mouth. You get some nice details inside the mouth. Now, one issue I don't like, I feel like the gums are really, really thick. And, from the front, this thing has a goofy ass appearance, but it's just so charming. I love the thing. You can see a little tongue inside here. The teeth are all nicely painted. You get some nice details on the roof of the mouth. My camera did not like it when I brought you that close. And then let's redo this and go back in. Here's a view of the head from the top, showing that nice binocular vision. View from the bottom, nice folds and wrinkles. The paintwork on these figures is always top notch. You get what you pay for with these figures. The paint jobs are always really great. You have this light brown slowly transition to a dark brown. You have all these white splotches along the side of the head and neck that go just past the shoulder blade, and more transitions of light colors, dark browns and light browns, all mixed in. Just the paint job, like I said, are always really nice. You have very long, spindly forearms with the hand claws painted in. Nice, glossy, gray paint going down to the very gangly looking legs. You get some more black and those browns and oranges mixing in, going down to the feet. Feet are beautifully sculpted, nice and long like a juvenile Rex should be. Toe claws are painted with that glossy paint. Here's a view of the body from the top. You see a much leaner, faster animal than the absolute monsters the adults grew into. Going down to the tail, you get some nice banding with blotches, yellow spots in between each band, all the way down to the tip of the tail, and then turn the figure over to the side. You can almost make out a cloaca slit right there. It's kind of right on the seam, but I'll give that a C- for the dinosaur butthole. But all around, a really, really cool looking figure. I do quite like it. It looks great next to the adult Tyrannosaurs. Now for articulation. Articulation is really good on this figure. You get a nice wide range of movement. Mouth can open up that far. The tongue does have some articulation in there. Can close completely flush. Head can look up. It can look down. You can get some nice side to side movement on that head joint. Going down to the neck, up, down, side to side, and some nice rotation. So you can get some nice side to side movement on those two joints working together. Much better head movement than the adults. Going down to the arms move forward, backwards. They can swing out a little bit. They have a bend at the elbow. You go completely straight, get 9 degrees of bend. You do have wrist articulation and a little bit of a swivel at the wrist, as the joints are so small on the wrist. I just get really nervous playing around with those. Going down to the body, you do have a mid-torso cut. You can get some downwards and upwards movement on it, not too much, and you can get some decent side-to-side movement on that cut. Going to the hind legs, you get backwards and forwards movement. Nice bend at the knee, and then at the ankle, you also get a nice bend and some rotation. Same thing at the knee, up and down on the feet. Best movement on any of the feet so far in the Tyrannosaurus series. I wish all the feet had this much range of movement on them. And then going down to the tail can move side to side, up and down, and it is on a bendy wire to get some more articulation out of it. So all around, really enjoying the articulation on this body type. Can't wait for the Chinsosaurus and Teratophonus to come out, because I really enjoying this body mold. Moving on, with comparisons, this figure is around 1/18 scale. Here it is with the Hammond Collection. Robert Muldoon gives you a good idea of how big a juvenile T-Rex is. You know, the Jane specimen is estimated around 11 years old, so it's already a sizable animal. And let's do some other baby dinosaurs. Here are the baby Diabloceratops from Beast of the Mesozoic. I really hope David decides to do some, hatchling Tyrannosaurs. I think those look great with the other figures. I know he's going to do a couple more Ceratopsians, and I'm really looking forward to those. I think the next one's going to be like Tyrannosaurus or something. So super excited. Let's do a couple Ceratopsian figures. Here it is with Old Buck. I absolutely love Old Buck. I hope to see more Dinosauria collaborations between both Davids. I just absolutely adore this figure. And let's do the subadult Triceratops, and let's do the big, massive Triceratops. These figures are just absolutely huge. They're just a dream come true for us dinosaur collectors. Let's do some of the other Tyrannosaur series figures. Here it is with the absolute beautiful Utyrannus, and here it is with Dilong. These smaller figures are also an absolute joy to play around with. Let's do a couple other juvenile T-Rex figures. Here is Safari Limited Nanotyrannus. Yes, they know it's a juvenile T-Rex, but they're just, doing what Dino Dana did. Here is Collecte's juvenile T-Rex. Really always like that figure. And lastly, here's PNSO's Logan. The Beast of Mesozoic version really, captures just like what an awkward animal a juvenile T-Rex is. All these just look like smaller versions of T-Rex. Logan looks okay, just a little heavier than this really sleek and lean version of Rex. So the Beast of Mesozoic is my go-to for a juvenile T-Rex. And lastly, here it is with the adult T-Rexes, and I have to say they look absolutely fantastic together. It's a great comparison of how lanky a juvenile Rex was and grew up into be these absolute massive powerhouses of muscle, and they just look absolutely great together. And they also make the very cutest family portrait. So yeah, if you have the adults, you definitely have to pick up the juvenile Rex. So final thoughts on Beast of the Mesozoic juvenile T-Rex. It's a really fun figure. I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't think I was going to enjoy it this much. The body type is really fun to play around with. You can get a lot of fun poses out of it. The base is very versatile. You just have to be, careful with that clip connection. It is very fragile. Just, take your time with these figures. They are expensive. You don't want anything breaking on them. But yeah, I'm just having an absolute blast with this Rex, and it looks absolutely fantastic with the adults. So this would be the last Beast of the Mesozoic figure I'll be reviewing for at least the next couple of months while we all wait for Wave 2. I think David said like the estimate is around June or July. I'm sure I'll probably get a production sample or two for early reviews. If you want to order one of these, the link is down below, the Creative Beast Studios. I think this figure retails for, I said it at the beginning of the review, and I literally recorded the opening and the end of this review like a couple weeks apart, so I've been slack a little bit. So yeah, whatever. If you want to order the figure, the link is down below in the description. So that will do it for the review. I have a couple new figures I need to get reviewing, so be on the lookout for all of those. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.